tale of two kings. Herodian was the only structure built by King Herod that he wanted to be named after him. It is located southeast of Jerusalem and northeast of Bethlehem and overlooks both. The structure dominates the surrounding countryside, inspiring fear and respect. It shows the character of the brilliant architectural mind that refused to take no for an answer, and something of the megalomania of King Herod. He built a magnificent palace atop an artificially raised mountain in the Judean desert. He wanted to be buried there, with his chief desire being able to see Jerusalem from the place of his burial, and, more importantly, for Jerusalem to be able to see him. That was why he had to have the height of the mountain increased by bringing in huge quantities of earth. He exalted himself high above where Messiah was born and above where he died. Herodian can be seen from the eastern slopes of the Mount of Olives, which bordered Jerusalem of his day, and one can see the same slopes from Herodian, so he almost succeeded in his plan. What of this man, King Herod? Client king to Rome, illegitimate in the eyes of the Jewish people because he was not from the line of the Hasmoneans, who were the rulers of the land since the time of the Maccabees, who retook Jerusalem and rededicated the altar at what became Chanukah, or the Feast of Dedication. King Herod, who married a Hasmonean princess to increase his credibility, and then murdered her and her mother because of his deep paranoia. King Herod, who courted Rome, building stunning architectural wonders like the pagan port city of Caesarea. King Herod, who rebuilds the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, causing it to become one of the wonders of the ancient world, and about which it was said that he who has not seen the temple has not seen a beautiful building. King Herod, who is fearful that he will be deposed, murdered, and replaced, and who builds incredible palace fortresses across the land: Masada, Caesarea, Jericho, Machaerus, Herodian, and Jerusalem. King Herod, who builds a massive deep water port, an architectural wonder, taking control of much of the trade in the Middle East and becoming one of the most wealthy, powerful men on earth by getting products to the European markets before anyone else. But who is this man? His father was from the region of Edom, in the south of Israel, and he was a convert to Judaism. His mother was a princess of Nabatean descent. The Nabateans were a nomadic, tribal people who lived to the east in the region that today is part of Jordan. In Genesis chapter 25, we find some important clues. This is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Isaac. Abraham became the father of Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel the Aramean from Paddan Aram, sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. The Lord said to her, "2 nations are within your womb, and 2 peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment, so they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out, with his hand grasping Esau's heel, so he was named Yaakov. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to him. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Yaakov was content to stay at home among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. That is why he was also called Edom, which means red. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright. Look, I am about to die." Esau said, "What good is the birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread, and some lentil stew. He ate and drank, and then got up and left. So Esau despised his birthright. So from this, we learn that Esau or Edom means red, and he gave away his birthright. If we follow the trail to Genesis 36 verse 9, we have it clearly recorded that Esau is the father of the Edomites. This is the account of the family line of Esau, the father of the Edomites in the hill country of Seir. In Genesis 32 verse 29, Esau's twin Jacob is given a new name, Israel. So Esau is the father of the Edomites, and Jacob is the father of Israel. From here on, God is referred to as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So Esau, despite being the legitimate heir of Isaac, loses his birthright and is almost written out of the story of redemption. I say almost because King Herod, through his father, was an Edomite, a descendant of Esau or Edom. So Edom is written back into the story, just not in such a good light. In Matthew 1, we have that most important genealogy, that of Messiah. It begins, this is the genealogy of Yeshua the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, and so on through the 14 plus 14 plus 14 generations between Abraham and Yeshua. Just let that sink in for a moment. Abraham fathered Isaac. Isaac fathered Jacob and Esau or Edom, even though he is not listed in the genealogy. They fought in the womb. From the loins of Edom, after approximately 1600 years or 42 generations, came forth a seed, the father of King Herod and of Herod himself. Just a little later, a seed came forth from Jacob or Israel, who was to be the Messiah of Israel and the nations, the anointed one. This is profound. What happens here at Herodian is equally profound. The battle between two kingdoms takes place. Matthew 2, verse 7 to 16 says, Then Herod secretly called the wise men and learned of them exactly what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search out exactly concerning the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word, that I may also come and worship him. And they, having heard from the king, went their way, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And they came into the house, and saw the young child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him, and opening treasures they offered unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. Now when they were departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou here until I tell you, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And he arose, and took the young child and his mother by night, and went to Egypt. He was there until the death of King Herod, that it might be fulfilled what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt did I call my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and sent forth and slew all the male children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the borders thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time when he had learned from the wise men. This megalomaniac and paranoid king and descendant of Esau or Edom is about to murder all the boys in Bethlehem and the surrounding area, which he could actually see from his dominating position high above Bethlehem. He lived with incredible wealth, and the physical evidence of the greatness of his dominion and earthly kingdom is still visible throughout the land of Israel today. Yet Herod built the port that the gospel was sent forth from to the nations in the book of Acts. He also built the temple platform upon which Yeshua stood, where in John 7 verse 37 he declared, All who are thirsty should come to me, All who believe in me should drink. As the scriptures say concerning me, rivers of living water will flow out from within him." In stark contrast to Herod, Yeshua, Messiah and King of Israel and the nations, left no earthly structure for us to be able to marvel at. There was no room for his mother to give birth to him in a home in his family town, probably because of the shame of pregnancy out of wedlock. In Middle Eastern culture, it makes no sense that there was no room for a pregnant woman to give birth, even in the time of a census. But because of this, he fulfilled prophecy, being born in a feeding trough in the Migdal Eder, or Tower of the Flock, together with the sacrificial animals. Born to die like them, for the sins of Israel and the nations. Humble and gentle, he laid aside the glory he had with the Father and came to serve. He fled from King Herod with his earthly family, having no place to lay his head. Yet his kingdom is unshakable, and of the increase of his government there shall be no end. Herod's kingdom lasted a while and came to an end, leaving the signs of his magnificence behind. But Yeshua's kingdom is invisible and yet eternal. He lived and died to set the captives free for eternity, and his kingdom is evidenced by changed lives and hearts who live only for him. We do not know for sure where he was born or where he was buried, although we certainly have hints of both. He is our King, this humble servant. One day soon he will return to take his rightful place as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The kingdoms of this earth have become the kingdoms of our Messiah, and he will reign forever. Amen.